welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a longer reading challenge vlog style video. So I haven't done a ton of these, but we're going to give it a go. This one's going to be a little bit different than our previous reading challenge videos where I was trying to read for 24 hours over the course of a weekend. This one is going to be multiple days, no time constraints, but I'm going to be reading books by authors that I have not liked previous works of theirs. So we've got a little stack, and some of you might be a little bit surprised by these, but I don't think anyone's going to be too terribly shocked. But here's my little stack of the books that we'll be giving a go in this video. I tried to put them in an order where I could theoretically read them in this order. I kind of broke them up and did the romances and the mysteries in a different way, so that way I'm not just doing all romance or all mystery. But let's go through them. Let's go through the other books by these authors that I've read and not loved. I think I need to go grab two books because I think I unhauled the other two. That's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, give me a moment. So now we're going to go over the books that I have in this stack and the books that I've read by these authors that I didn't love. So first on our list is Alyssa Sussman. I'm hoping to read Once More with Feeling. The other book of Alyssa Sussman's that I've read is Funny You Should Ask. I read this one basically right after it came out. I believe it came out in 2022. Yes, 2022. I read it when it first came out. I had heard that it was loosely based on an interview that Chris Evans did and the tension and chemistry he had with the person interviewing him. And I was super intrigued. I thought that would be super interesting, but I just didn't love where the story went. I liked the then now timeline, and that was kind of all that I really liked about this book. I think I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars, which is still a good review. But I'm just the more I think about it, the more I'm oh, that actually wasn't that good of a book. That wasn't actually that great. So didn't love this. I also didn't love the writer's style of writing. Let me see if I can find a page where it does this. But something I noticed that she does a lot when she's writing is, okay, I found two examples of the things I did not love. So it'll be, oh, you can't even read it. I'll put in a clip of B-roll of it. But basically it'll be, he said, and then a sentence, I said, and then a sentence, he said, and then a sentence, I said. And it's can you not think of anything? Can you put this I said somewhere else? Can you not think of any other words that mean said? Or there'll be long points of dialogue where it doesn't say anything. And it's just the words in the quotation marks. And you can't really tell who's saying what. You can kind of figure it out a little bit. Maybe the first one will say who said it. And then you just have to assume that they're flip-flopping back and forth. But sometimes it'll end and it'll act like the wrong person said it. And I'll be that's weird. So I just didn't love her writing style when it came to dialogue like that. So I'm hoping that this one will be a little bit better. It's a little bit chunkier. And that was another thing that I didn't love about this one, is that it's supposed to be set in a single day. The then is a single day and the now is a single day. And I don't think that's enough time for someone to fall in love with someone else. But this book is trying to make it seem like that's what happened. Whereas this one, I think I said it in my November TBR video because I wanted this one to be on the TBR really bad and I ended up not making it. But this one, we're following a retired pop star. She was a pop star called Katie Rose in the early 2000s. And she, had a boyfriend who was an adored boy band member. So think very Britney and Justin is the vibe I'm getting. But she ends up cheating on her boyfriend with a member of his boy band. And now in today's time, in the now time, she's trying to have a Broadway career. And the person who's directing it, the person who's directing it is the guy that she cheated on her boyfriend with. So that's kind of our dynamic in this one, which I think is a little bit more interesting than interviewer interviewee. Still kind of weird that it's like a work related thing. I don't know if Alyssa Sussman just likes to do like work romances, which like I guess kind of makes sense. I only know these two books by her, so I don't know if she has anything else out that I've just completely missed. But I do think the covers are really cute. Like that's the one thing I will give her is like she knows how to do a cover. Like these are good covers. So we shall see how that one goes. The next book on my list is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I've tried to read this one multiple times. Like at least 2 to 3 times. I've tried. I don't like the main character. I think the main character is really insufferable. And I think that there are some books that do that well. And this is not a book that does it well because I don't like any of the other characters either. So I'm hoping that doing this one immersive reading will help me out. This is the only book by this author that I have. I know she has multiple other books. I just have not been inspired to pick them up based on how much I've not enjoyed this one, like historically. But this is going to be the time where I try to finish it. The plot of this one is basically a college reunion. Friend group comes together and they decide they're going to solve the murder of one of their friends that was in their friend group. And she was murdered like when they were in college. So it's been like over 10 years. And they're just now like, hey, we should figure out what happened to her. Like, I also don't like that. That feels icky to me. The next book on this list is Throne of Glass. And you might be like, oh my God, crazy girl. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you liked Akatar. You liked Crescent City. The second Crescent City book put me in the hugest reading slump of my life. This big old beefy boy was supposed to like hold me over for like part of my Christmas break in 2023 when I went home. Tell me how I only read like 3 pages of it just for this much at the very end to be the good part. All of this was for nothing. This was the good part. What do you mean? What do you mean? I suffered through all of this book, had the biggest reading slump of my life, just for it to only be the very end of the book worth it. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, I still have not read the third Crescent City book. I know it came out. I know it's on my shelves. I haven't read it, and I'm scared to. So this is going to be SJM's redemption. Hopefully, we'll see. Kind of interesting that everyone else that I'm reading is not, going all the way back to their oldest. Usually it's going back, like coming forward to a newer one, not going backwards to an old one, but SJM is kind of the exception here. I mean, I do have one other one where that's kind of what we're doing, but we'll get to that here in a second. The next book that we're going to be talking about in this video and reading is Watching You by Lisa Duell. I don't even have the other book of hers that I've read because I unhauled it. That's how much I didn't like it. So if you guys remember, about a year ago now, Lisa Duell came out with a book called None of This Is True, and everyone was hyping it up. Everyone said that it was so cool, it was so good, it was so crazy, it was so wild. And I read it, and I was unimpressed. I liked it enough. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I wasn't having a bad time. But people were talking about how like unhinged and crazy it was, so my brain was going all over the place. I was like, oh yeah, like this is probably gonna happen, and this is where it's gonna end, and this is another thing that's gonna happen. No, none of those things happened. Like not even close. So we're gonna give it another try. This one is a like neighborhood like thriller-ish. So it says Melville Heights is one of the nicest neighborhoods in Bristol, England. It's not usually the sort of place where people are murdered in their own kitchens, but it is the sort of place where everyone has a secret and prying eyes lurk behind every curtain. So who has been murdered and who would have wanted one of their neighbors dead? So we shall see. We shall see. This is the only other case of going back in the author's backlist instead of moving forward to a newer release of theirs. So we'll see how this one goes. Another one that I'm planning on doing immersive reading. I'm going to try to do immersive reading to keep me engaged with some of these just because I know myself and I know that it might be a little bit difficult to get into these if I have to overlook like writing issues, if that makes sense. Like I'm not a big grammar critiquer. I don't usually read for writing style, but if the writing style feels off, I will notice. And then the last book that we're going to be doing in this video is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. The other book of hers that I've read is The Cheat Sheet. I feel like everyone who started their reading journey in the last like 3 years has read The Cheat Sheet. My big gripe with The Cheat Sheet is it feels like they're high schoolers. Like they're very obviously adults. Like the girl like runs her own ballet studio. The guy is literally an NFL player. And it feels like they're 16. Like something about the way they interact, something about the way they talk, something about like there are so many factors that led to them feeling like children to me. And I just wasn't that big of a fan of it. And I'm hoping that trying a new book of hers will kind of course correct that. And like maybe these characters will feel less young and less juvenile. And then it won't be as bad as this one. Because overall, I liked the story of this one. I did like where it went. I liked the fake dating. I just didn't love that they talked like they were 16. That was the part that I didn't like. So with this one, we are following another pop star. Why do people keep writing about pop stars? But in this one, we are following another pop star who is trying to kind of escape from her everyday life and have a little bit of fun and be like a normal person. So that's kind of exciting. So here we have our little stack of books that I'm hoping to get read in the next like 2-ish weeks. We shall see how that goes. I think I'm starting with Once More with Feeling, and then we're going to kind of work our way down our little stack and see how much we get done in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I will catch you guys in the next little bit. Bye. Finished Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman, and she has redeemed herself. I like this one a lot, actually. So in this one, like I said, we are following Kathleen, who was Katie Rose back in the day, and she's decided that her and her best friend are finally going to put on that Broadway musical that they had wanted to put on. And Cal, the guy that she cheated on her boyfriend with way back when, decides that he is going to be their director. So very interesting, very fun. I actually really liked all the nods to the early 2000s that were in this. Like she mentioned things that felt very Britney and Justin, which was super fun and super cool. While also like talking about how that fame has like affected her like now. Like she got fully canceled because of what was going on with her ex-boyfriend and Cal and how she cheated, but no one like could confirm that she cheated, and her boyfriend from the boy band kind of sucked. Like Ryan was like not a good character. We get both then and now timelines, but the thing that makes this like super interesting is the then timeline is like flashing all the way back to when her and Cal met. So Kathleen and Cal met at like a summer camp for like kids that want to do musical theater stuff. So both of their backgrounds are in like musical theater, and because they were really talented and like really good dancers and really good singers, like they like actually got wrapped up in the whirlwind that is like pop stardom in the 90s. So they never intended to be pop stars. They just kind of like accidentally stumbled into it. And I thought that was super fun and super interesting. And you get to see kind of their dynamic together, them with Kathleen's best friend Harriet, and kind of all these other things that like made them who they are. Good job, sweet boy. And so, yes, really like this one. Gave it a 4.5. The writing style still bothered me a little bit with the I said, sentence he said, sentence I said, sentence he said. But like it wasn't nearly as like awkward, I felt like. I feel like it just kind of made sense in like the course of the dialogue. And I also felt like Cal and Kathleen made a lot more sense together as a couple, as opposed to in Funny You Should Ask, where Gabe was like this super famous megastar, and I think the interviewer's name was Chani, and like she really didn't have anything in common with him. Like they make sense together. They have a lot in common. So I thought that was super cute and super fun. So first one finished and redeemed. Now we are going to go into In My Dreams I Hold the Knife. Like I said, tried to read this one before. This is probably the one I'm most nervous to dislike, but I'm allowing myself to DNF. I don't usually DNF, but if I want to DNF, I'm going to let myself DNF. Because, like, life's too short to read a book you hate. So, we'll see how this goes. I read this one in about, like, 2 days. I think I started it on Tuesday, finished it Wednesday night. So, we'll see how long this bad boy takes me doing immersive reading. Hopefully, we finish quickly, but I will update you when the time comes. I will catch you in the next clip. Bye. So I ended up starting this one and finishing this one in literally a day. I did immersive readings. That's what helped it go by fast. And I will admit, I think I quit it too early the past like 3 times I tried to read it. But also, I did not know there would be other people's point of view in this, and that made it 10 times more interesting. Up until the last like 25%, I was still not liking it. And I was still like, what the heck? Like, I feel like I know what's happening. So I was kind of right. I was right about who I thought did it. I was wrong about their motives. I thought I knew why this character did the bad thing, but no, they did it for a different motive. And then also, there's a very last scene in here that like actually like kind of changed how I feel about the book. So like overall, I do think I liked it just because the very twist ending kind of got me. So wait until I guess like the last like 2 pages and then it gets good. Like that's kind of a shit thing. But once I got to like the very, very end and there was like a final twist, that's when I was like, okay, I like it. So let me kind of like go over a little bit of what's happening in here without like spoiling it. So like I said, we are at a college reunion. It's been 10 years since they graduated, and they decide as like a group of friends, like, hey, let's go ahead and like actually figure out what happened to our friend who was murdered during our senior year. And so you're in the main character Jessica's point of view. You get a then and now, so you kind of see like how their friendship has changed, how their friendships have evolved, like all the kind of like intricacies of their like relationships as this big group. There were 7 of them in college. There were, you know, like all buddies, all pals, and kind of how like their dynamics are kind of formed and how they kind of change. And the thing that I think I struggled with in this is that it's a little bit like, oh my God, what was that movie with Emily Blunt? Was that The Girl on the Train, where she like thinks she witnesses a crime and her husband like convinces her like, no, you didn't? It's giving that. It was giving that of like gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss. Like that's what was happening a little bit in here. So like our main character Jessica doesn't have like all of her memories, and so she kind of struggles with them reopening this kind of little investigation, even though it's not even a real investigation. Like the police aren't involved. It's literally just their friend group figuring it out, and the little brother of the girl who got murdered. So she's struggling with not remembering like everything that she should be able to remember, and like being like questioning her own self and like what exactly was happening at that time. But I did like the way that that kind of all unfolded. Even though I figured I knew where we were going, I did like how that one played out. I thought I knew what someone's motives were, but that wasn't it at all. Like completely different motives, which was interesting, which then leads into like the very final scene where it's like, oh. So I did have kind of a good time with this one, even though I hate to admit it. It was only a good time in the last like quarter. So since we finished that one, over the weekend, I moved on to Throne of Glass, and that is going slowly. You can't even see my bookmark. You can't even see it. But that's going slowly. I think I'm on chapter like 10 or 11. Yeah, chapter 11, page 76. So slowly but surely making progress, but emphasis on the slowly. I was hoping to get halfway through this over the weekend, and then I just didn't. I just wasn't feeling it. Wasn't vibing. Like, I'm liking it, don't get me wrong. I just did not have the urge to like sit down and binge it the way that other people talk about. I'm like, I know that this is not the best book in the series. Like, I know that people say it starts off slow, it starts off like a little bit boring. And then like by the time you get to, you know, like books 2 and 3, it's like a whole different story. It's a whole different world. I just don't think I'm vibing with where we're starting quite yet. I mean, it's really interesting. So we're following the main character. I believe you pronounce her name Selena, and she is like a notorious assassin. She gets caught and like locked up in like a prison. And then the prince, like after she's been in this like salt mine prison for a year, this prince finds her and is like, "Hey, my dad's looking for a champion for our kingdom. I want you to like be my, submission into this contest." And she's like, "Okay, like sounds great." Because she wants to be free. Like she just wants her freedom. So after I believe like 5 years, she'll get her freedom if she becomes this like champion. And the point that I'm at in the book right now, they literally just met the other like champions. Like not even like officially. They all were just in the king's throne room, like together. So that's where we're at right now. Like I said, like not really a ton is happening. Homegirl was really impressed by like a library. And that was kind of it. She's giving I'm not like other girls vibes, which is kind of like the par for the course. Like this was written in what, 2008, something like that. 2012. Okay, close enough. Yeah. So this was in like 2012, like peak I'm not like other girls era. So I'm not too surprised that that's the vibe we're getting. I'm hoping to make a good chunk of this my priority for the rest of the week. I want to finish it by Thursday. Like that's the goal. It's Monday right now. I'm hoping to get this done by Thursday so then I can finish our last two books over the weekend and call it a day. So we shall see if that actually gets done. But this is where we're at right now. I will update you guys as there are updates. Hopefully I can get like a little B-roll of me reading, but who knows? It's a busy work week like usual. So I will catch you guys in the next clip. Bye. Okay, so I think the last time I updated you guys was a week ago. I apologize. I finished Throne of Glass. I did not record my thoughts as I was reading it because there were no thoughts to have for a while. It was slow going. Very, very slow going for a good chunk of the beginning of this book. Like I said, took me basically a week to read it, which is kind of on the slower side for me. I mean, not insanely slow, but still like I usually can do 2 or 3 books in a week. So to only read one like an entire week, that was kind of crazy. I feel like every time I picked it up, I was getting put to sleep. And I think this has convinced me that as much as I want to like SJM's books, there are a lot of like, was it really good or was it the last 100 pages? And it's always the last 100 pages that are like actually the good part. So I feel like this set up the story well. I feel like I could see how this is like the OG, this is the blueprint for most modern romanticides. Like I would be reading it and I would be like, oh, that happened in this book. That feels like this part of this book. This feels like this. Like everything that was happening in this, I felt like I'd read before because so many other romantasy books are borrowing elements of this. So overall, I did end up giving it a 4 stars. I do think it's pretty good. I do think it's a good jumping off point, but I don't love the fact that like all of those videos where they're like, oh, this is how you pronounce this character's name, only like 2 of them have shown up so far. Like we're not even introduced to all of the characters that I know are going to be in the series. And that makes me feel like I'm in for so much more, which is kind of exciting, but also kind of scary because I'm probably not going to be picking up the next one for a while. Like I just have other books I want to pick up more. But it is kind of a wintry book. I wasn't expecting it to be so like fall winter coded. Like she gets to the castle and it's fall time and then it's winter and like the language in here is very descriptive. Like I do think this is SJM's best writing in a way where it's like I love how she's describing things. I love the verbiage she's using. I love like her actual writing. And usually I'm not a person to pick up on that kind of things. I'm a very big vibes reader. So for me to be like, oh, it was written super well, like that doesn't usually happen. I don't usually get put off by the actual writing style, or I don't get like sucked in by the actual writing style. Like it doesn't matter to me. But this time I was liking it, which was good. So yeah, overall a 4 star. We'll be continuing the series at a later time. SJM has officially redeemed herself in my eyes. I don't know how this is the first thing she did. And Crescent City is whatever the heck is going on with that book series. But I digress. So the next book that we're going to be picking up is Watching You. This one is by Lisa Jewell, and this is to kind of redeem herself from how like wild and crazy everyone talks about all of her books being. They say that all of her stuff is so wild, it's so crazy, like you're going to be mind blown. And the one book I read of hers, none of this is true. I was waiting for it to get crazier. Like everyone talks about the plot twist in that book being so wild, so crazy. I thought it was like tame. Like it wasn't like what I would expect to happen in real life. So it was crazier than real life, but it wasn't as crazy as I feel like I've seen mystery thriller books get. So I'm excited for Watching You. I know literally nothing about this. I know it's set in like a cute, quaint British suburb. That's all I've got. So I'm very excited to pick this one up. We're doing this one as an audiobook, so I'm hoping to finish it tonight. It's almost 8 p.m., like my time. So I'm hoping to get the audiobook started here in the next 20-30 minutes after I have a little snack. Don't judge me. I had one meal today. It was lunch at 2:30. So I'm hoping to have a nice little snacky. You get excited about a snacky. Um, I'm hoping to have a quick little snack and then get into the book and then see kind of what we think of Miss Lisa Jewell's stuff and see if I like her writing or if I was just being too harsh of a critic on her other book where I thought it was going to be like mind-blowing, crazy, twisty. Yes, but I will update you guys as much as I can on this one. We'll see if I finish it tonight. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye. It's been a minute since our last update. I think I've only been updating you as I'm finishing books, and I'm just now catching that. So I finished Watching You. Did we talk about that? I honestly don't remember. So I guess we're talking about it again. So finished Watching You. I ended up liking this one more than I thought that I would. So in this one, we're following basically like 3 or 4 like groups, I guess is what we'll call them, that seem to not have anything to do with each other, but like they're very interconnected. So the first like little group of people that we're talking about and following is Joey and her husband Alfie. So Joey and her husband Alfie met while like working at a resort in Ibiza, I think, and they fell in love, got married super fast, and then they end up coming back to London, or I guess England, wherever this is set. They come back after Joey's mom passes away, and Joey decides that she's going to live with her brother and his new wife, Rebecca. And so her brother Jack and Rebecca are also in this little grouping. So there's 4 people in this house that we're kind of following. The other little group that we're following is one of their neighbors named Tom, his wife Nicola, and then their son Freddie. And so Freddie has a little bit of a bad habit. He likes to spy on different people in the community. And so he always has his camera out. He always has his little telescope. And he's like basically always creeping on everyone in the neighborhood. And he knows everything that's going on with everybody. But Tom is his dad. And Tom is like a major, what's the word? Like a major figure in the community. He works with the schools. And so a lot of people just know Tom just like out and about on the street. So like Tom is always getting stopped. He's always being recognized. People are always like, oh, thank you so much for like helping my kids' school, getting my kids' school funding, advocating for the students, like all of that kind of stuff. And Freddie's a little bit jealous that his dad gets all this attention. He feels like it's just my dad. Like he's not that great. But Freddie's still out here spying on everyone. So he knows everyone's drama. And then the third and final little like group, I guess, again, of people that we're following is Jenna and her best friend Bess. And so Jenna is another one of the girls that like is in this like neighborhood. She goes to the school that Tom like currently is working at, which Freddie doesn't. Freddie goes to private school, which I thought was very interesting. Freddie goes to a private school, but he's still like following Jenna and like thinks that Jenna's like super cute and super fun, but like a little too old for him. Jenna's about 15, and I believe Freddie is supposed to be like 12 or 13. So a little bit of a like, I want to say an age gap because that makes it like sound fun. A little bit of a gap, if you will. And so Jenna and her best friend Bess are, I believe, like sophomores, like freshmen or sophomores in school at the school that Tom is teaching at or principaling at or whatever. But Jenna gets in her head that Tom is like a predator. Like she's thoroughly convinced that Tom is out here creeping on all the young girls. She's over here like, Bess, what the heck? Please do not sleep with our teacher, basically. But she thinks that Tom is like trying to get with all the girl students. She's like a little bit creeped out by him. And Jenna also is taking care of her mom. So even though she's young, her mom has like I guess like personality disorder is like the best way to describe it. She's convinced that someone is like stalking her and ruining her life. And so she's on these like online forums and she's like, yeah, I counted, 28 packets of sugar this last night. And then this morning when I woke up, there's 27. Like she's just like thoroughly convinced that like people are coming into their house and like messing with their stuff, following them around, like trying to ruin their life, basically, is what Jenna's mom is in this like delusion of believing. And so those are the three like camps of people that we're following and how all of their stories are like interconnected. Because some of them are very obviously interconnected, like with Freddie like using his telescope to spy on the girls. Like you can tell like that's very obviously like an intersection because they're all in this neighborhood together. But then there are other like smaller intricacies of like how Tom's wife is involved in stuff, how Joey is involved in things. Joey's husband Alfie is like involved in other things. So yeah, this was very interesting, very fun. I think I liked the direction of this one more than the other book that I read by Lisa Jewell, only because we don't find out who dies until like the very end. Like we get little snippets of police interviews and stuff, but like, yeah, see, we get like little police interviews in like typewriter, and we like don't know who they're talking about having died. And so it's really interesting to like see like who they think did it versus like how it actually works out. And I did think the end was very satisfying. I think that it kind of wraps it all up in like neat little bows. I liked that. So yes, there is that one. So we finished that one. Like I said, I don't think that we fully debriefed that one last time we spoke. And then this one is our very last one that we finished, When in Rome. This one is by Sarah Adams. So in this one, we are following a pop star who goes by Ray Rose, but her real name's Amelia, and she loves Audrey Hepburn movies. So she decides that she's going to take a note from an Audrey Hepburn movie, and she's going to go on a Roman holiday, just like the movie. But she's in Nashville, and she can't really just up and fly to Rome. Like she's got like 2 or 3 weeks of vacation before her next tour starts, and she can't really just like go to like she's too famous, so like people would know her and it would like ruin the whole vacation. She hasn't been able to plan it, so she decides she's going to drive to the closest place called Rome, which ends up being Rome, Kentucky. And her car breaks down in front of this guy Noah's house, so she's basically stranded in his front yard, and we kind of go from there. So overall, I did enjoy this, but there were some things where I didn't love it. So I did end up giving it 4 stars. The main gripe that I had with this was Noah has been burned in the past before. And so he's very adamant to Amelia, like, hey, don't fall in love with me. And he mentions that like 10 times. And I'm just over here like, buddy, like, I don't see what Amelia sees in you. I'm sorry, if a man told me don't fall in love with me after I'd known him for 12 minutes, I would say, okay, no problem. Like that wasn't on my to-do list anyway. But no, Amelia ends up falling real hard for this man, and he falls right back. The other thing I did not love about this book is that there's like a really awkward time jump, and I feel like we as the reader miss all of their other relationship milestones. So literally this much of the book, like the very, very tail end, just the tiniest, teeniest little bit, this encapsulates like I think like a week or so of them like hanging out and like actually being in their relationship. All of this is like the build up, the lead up, then them finally deciding to be together, and then we like do a little time jump, which isn't even that drastic. It's not like a massive time. It's just like the rest of her vacation. Like she thinks she's going to stay for another week, and then she ends up deciding like, okay, no, I can actually stay for 2 more weeks. And like this time jump takes us to like the very end of her vacation. So it's like, okay, so you spent 2 weeks together, and like she talks about like resolving some issues that she had with another character. She talks about like, so she like fills us in on what's happened in those like 2 weeks. I think I rather would have read like a couple of scenes from those 2 weeks, especially considering this is already a really short book. I think we're at 307 pages. Yeah, we could have just added like 50 pages of those 2 weeks together instead of having those 2 weeks together be fully skipped over, and then like the very last like 12 pages are like the resolution of like, okay, here's what actually ended up happening my last like 2 weeks in Rome. Like, okay, that was my major thing with it. But 4 stars, still liked it. I do think that Sarah Adams just writes younger characters than I would expect. Like Noah's supposed to be 32, but is still parading around. Don't fall in love with me. Amelia is 26 or 28. I can't remember. Um, and like I will admit the things that she doesn't know how to do, it makes sense for like a pop star to not know how to do. Like she can't make pancakes. She's not used to making her own appointments or phone calls. She has never like just walked around to downtown by herself as an adult. She hasn't had a job because like she's been a pop star since she was like 18. So like, yeah, of course. Of course she wouldn't know how to do like all of these things. So it felt realistic, but for Noah, it was kind of like, bruh, like be so for real. So I think that Sarah Adams just writes a little bit too young for me. I don't know. Her characters just feel very, very juvenile. And I did appreciate in this one, so like the cheat sheet that I read before that I did not love by Sarah Adams, a good chunk of why I didn't love it is Sarah Adams does closed door romances. And they were very like adamant about like wanting to have spicy time, but like waiting until they were married. And so like it felt like we talked about it a lot, but we never got to see any of it happen. Whereas this one, they don't talk about it like at all. Like you know it's happening, but like behind closed doors, because that's the whole point of closed door romance. So I did enjoy how that was handled in this one a lot more than the cheat sheet, because like they didn't make it a big deal. They didn't like hype it up. They weren't talking about how like they were waiting or anything. Like there was no discussion of it. They just like let it naturally happen as their flirtationship relationship kind of progressed. And I feel like that makes more sense for closed door romance. But yeah, this one liked it more than Cheat Sheet, but not like a favorite book of mine. Like I think that I will pick up a Sarah Adams again for like a palate cleanser. Maybe if I read something a little bit too spicy, I'll reach for another Sarah Adams. So that is all of the books that we ended up reading for this vlog. Sorry that it's taking a little bit longer than I would like to get out. It took me way longer to read Throne of Glass than I anticipated. So I decided to go ahead and just push the release of this video back to be able to finish all of the books that I'd wanted to finish. Cute. I love it. Awesome. Well, yes, finished 5 books in basically 20 days, which like not crazy great, but also like could have been worse, really. Could have been a lot worse, really, if we think about it, considering how slumpy I was feeling after Throne of Glass. But oh well, overall, a good time. I think we did good. I think all of these authors have redeemed themselves, and I will continue to add their books to my shelves moving forward. But yes, if you made it to the end of the video, go ahead and leave. Oh my god, what emoji should we do? I didn't think this far ahead. Do a cat emoji. There's a cat on the cover of this book. And the girl, what's her name? Kathleen. Kathleen has a cat in this book. So do a cat emoji. That sounds fun. Okay, well, I will catch you guys in the next video. See you later. Bye. This one, I feel like the light is making this cover like look super weird. Does that look better? And I'd heard, it's not usually the spot, the sort of, this is the only other case of going back in the author's discography. That's not really how that works. Okay, cool. Okay, I don't remember what we had done last time I talked to you. I know we'd read this one, and we gave this 4 stars, I think. 4 and a half. I think we gave it 4. I think that's where we left off. We were going to start this one. Yes.